What up guys, welcome back. As promised, we have another review this weekend. So if you guys recall from last weekend, we were looking at the Red House products, and we will continue it on with that tomorrow. But today I wanted to kind of go ahead, take a break from that real quick and look at one of the new Old Dudes products. And probably the most exciting one, the one that I kind of spoke most to Clayton about, which is their newest matte paste. And so if you guys recall, we also recently looked at a matte paste from Empire Apothecary, and really kind of what we kind of think on this blog is that paste and paste pomades are kind of the next thing for the home brewer market to kind of step on, because over the past few years we kind of seen the rise of clay and clay pomades within the home brewer market, and so matte pastes are the next thing. And of course, we'll start off like any other review by looking at the beautiful jar. This is it. This is Old Dudes Apothecary matte paste 4-ounce jar in the classic amber glass jar, but as you can really tell, has this new like metallic, like beautifully printed new label. I believe this is actually limited edition, so this is only for the first batch that you'll receive this special label, but it is a beautifully designed label. And as you guys can imagine, Old Dudes and Sheer Revival are probably my favorite kind of designed labels. Both of them commissioned out to a third-party designer. Both designers are extremely well talented. So you have directions and ingredients on one side, labels on the face, and kind of just imagery on the other. Opening it up, you'll see the matte paste inside, which looks kind of like the original water-based product, but with a slightly more creamy texture. And we'll kind of see how it actually styles now. When I first opened this jar, it feels like the first kind of rush of scent really reminds me of like the lumber department in Home Depot. Mostly because of kind of that sappy, woody, herbal spiciness. But kind of once I smell it even more, it actually takes more of a herbal floralness, and that spice, that bite really goes away. But of course, it has that Old Dudes herbal smell that we all are really familiar with now. And yes, a very pleasant smell. Alright. Scooping it out, I mean, is definitely, it feels like the other pastes we tried, but funny enough, it really reminds me of that original Old Dudes like water-based pomade. Like kind of when it first came out and it was really hard to break down. This one is not hard to break down, but has that like wateriness. And what I actually appreciate right away, I can feel it right now, is that this paste isn't really discomforting to apply, because with a lot of like paste products, including the Empire Apothecary, the Layrite Natural Matte Cream, and other products like that, they dry almost immediately, which has its own advantages, but it's very uncomfortable for me to apply and work with those. And this one, I can feel it kind of getting gritty right away, but it's not discomforting at all. It actually feels a lot like the Arcadian clay right now, but without any sort of like granularity or any sort of like clay particles or that type of texture. I mean, I expect and I will style a more textured pompadour today, because that's what I think is the best use with these types of products, but it kind of feels like that. It feels dry, it feels like waxy, but I wouldn't say it feels gritty, you know. It feels like really smooth, like a cream, like the product is extremely fine, yet it provides texture without having any sort of like, I guess, grain clay texture in the product. But okay, so we've gone with a few small scoops. We'll go ahead, touch on a little bit more just to get it underneath, because I don't think I did a good job getting it under there, and that should be enough though. In all honesty, I could probably get away with just finger combing this thing on a normal day, but for reviews we always try to push the product to its boundaries to really review it, so that's what we will do today. I'm gonna go ahead and comb it back now. So what I'm noticing with this product before I even start styling it, even just combing it through, is that like it has this cool little like bounce to it, as you can see, and also the feeling of combing it through really reminds me of like the Arcadian clay. Yet, like I don't see any like grains of clay. I don't see anything. It's like really smooth, and so let's style fit now. And like, yes, that was amazingly easy. I mean, I didn't even style like a loose textured pump, so you can see if there are even any mistakes right now. Like this is a clean pump, but without like the slickness and with a very neutral, maybe matte finish to the product, or to the pump rather. And like with a clay, it's very difficult to style like a clean pump with it. It's actually almost like impossible, which is why you go for a textured look. Now, I feel like with this matte paste, you can go either direction. You get good volume, good, very intuitive control, which is what I'm like really not used to having with a paste. I'm used to actually be given like a challenge because it's kind of difficult to style with. But this one, pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. Yet you can go both ways. You can style a clean pump, or you can add some fingers in order to style like a more like a looser, like more textured like type of pompadour. And yeah, I mean, you rarely see that type of like versatility between a loose and a clean one. Like you see it possible with products, but I've never really seen it done extremely well. And I guess this is why, I guess this is for the first time we've seen really where the role of paste pomades really fits into, and this is pretty fascinating just because, yeah, this is really nice and it feels extremely light in the hair. But yeah, so of course we're gonna have to go ahead and kind of test this out during the day now. But real quick recap: consistency out of the jar, like pretty creamy, just like we would expect out of a paste. But funny enough, it really reminds us of the original Old Lute's water-based pomade. Application much easier than any other paste or paste pomade we've tried. It definitely dries in a way, but does not get grippy and difficult or discomforting to apply. Shine, neutral matte. Slickness, non-existent. Textured is that you have the capability, yet it is, I guess for lack of a better word, I guess you can say it's slick enough to basically keep things together, but you will get a few strays just because it is a matte finish and you don't have that oiliness to keep things together. Strength is definitely like a medium firm, but the weight is really light, which is why you can style something as tall and as voluminous as this. But yeah, so come back in a few hours and we'll talk about the endurance, restyling, and what's it like after a few hours during the day. Okay, so it's been a solid number of hours. I want to go ahead and showcase you guys what it looks like at the end of the day. But a quick footnote I wanted to mention, this product does contain a clay. I mentioned before that it is very much unlike a clay in some ways, yet it still contains clay as a very significant ingredient. But what I'm kind of referencing here is that it lacks like the grittiness of a clay. Though it contains it at a very fine like granularity, which really makes it distinct and different from a clay pomade, where we sometimes want something that has a little more grittiness, a little more coarseness to it, to give us a different level of texture, a different feel, and a different kind of like styling characteristic. But this product, though it contains a clay, is best described as a paste just because of the kind of the characteristics of this one. Kind of quick drying, very smooth, a very like neutral matte finish. Provides texture, but texture is not the only way to go. Looseness is not the forced direction. But anyways, enough of that footnote. Endurance. So we can't and shouldn't expect it to keep like a very clean pump the entire day. It can't do that. I've never seen a paste that can do that. And that's not necessarily the point of a paste, a cream, or a clay. And so what we really expect, though, what we can expect is something that maintains a high level of aesthetics like throughout the entire day, whether or not your hair is messed up. Like this is what it looks like after a good finger comb. You still have good volume, you still have something to work with, and the important thing is that the product keeps everything neutral, everything kind of matte in a way, and it keeps it's such that the texture looks good. It looks like it's intended to. Whereas with like a greasy pomade, everything just falls apart, just falls on your face and gets really nasty. In this case, with this product, it doesn't. That's the point. Now, restyling, as you can also see, a surprising amount of volume is left. I'm not saying that you can get it as tall as before. That'd be very difficult. But in comparison to other clays and pastes that we've tried, it's surprisingly high. We can get a good amount of volume. And this is just me like finger combing it. Like, that is surprising. Like, look at that. It's a little ridiculous at times, but things still look good. And the important thing is that you can still kind of somewhat hold on to the idea that tight on the sides, high volume on the top, and a general shape that really just is kind of what you intend to have with a loose pomp and what you try to maintain through restyling with a paste like this. But yes, hardness doesn't harden at all. Greasiness never was greasy. Dryness, that's kind of one of the biggest things with this product, is that it's matte, it's neutral, but it doesn't dry out my hair. It's not discomforting to finger comb. The downside of clays, though they're kind of grittier, stronger, and kind of like thicker in a way than paste, they can be discomforting to restyle just because it's so gritty and so dry. With this product, not at all. It feels like totally fine. My hair feels soft as heck. It feels great. And it's very easy and very effortless to restyle. And of course, washing it out washes out in one go, even with just water. So, in all truth and honesty, matte paste blew every other paste we've seen like out of the water. Like, my seal of approval, duh, of course, no doubt about that. I would highly recommend it. I think it's a must-have. If you're pushing towards like textures and loose style, it's a must-have. If you want to keep a clean style, you can still use this product. It's just, it'll be neutral and matte, and you should definitely try it out, and maybe it will encourage you to try out a looser, more textured style. But the biggest thing for me that I'm really taking out of this review is that, once again, like craftsmanship, homebrewedness, like the idea of one person who focuses all their time and effort into innovating something that has already existed can still make a big difference, because this is way better than any other like BS like we've seen on the market that you would see at Kmart, Target, Walmart, whatever. Like, this is pretty impressive, and especially for us, where we've really always been accustomed to pomades and how they perform, this is something that is still surprisingly intuitive, yet very different from what we used it for. And so, what I'm trying to say is that it really marks a moment in time when now we can expect homebrewers to release a myriad of like paste pomades and a myriad of paste pomades that perform extremely well and are not just something like the Lay Right Natural Cream, which like falls apart after like a few hours, or some of the other like commonplace pastes we've seen that where it dries and it turns into glue in your hair and you can barely even use it. Like, I'm excited to see what else the homebrewing market has to offer, because like with the Old Dudes water base, that kind of opened the door and kind of allowed the gateways to be flooded with water-based products in the homebrewing market. Now we're going to be kind of flooded with paste and paste pomades, and of course I mean flooded in a good way. But yeah, so I mean, I liked it so much, I just hurried with and talked to Clayton right now. I believe we will be offering Old Dudes matte paste on the approved list at a damn good price, because we want to offer you guys the best, and so whenever we see the best, we make an effort to try to offer it to you guys. And basically, if you want to pick up some other Old Dudes product at the same time, then we also do have the promo code for you guys, the Pomp, all caps, and that's for you guys to use when you're buying direct from the Old Dudes. And I guess also along that note, we're done with YouTube ads. I know I should have dealt with it earlier, but I just realized that that's an optional thing, and like YouTube ad money is like petty cash. It's literally like absolutely minimal, so I'm getting rid of it because ain't nobody got time for ads. And if I have time, I'll go back to change all the things, all the settings in the past videos, but from now on, no ads, because I just realized that's optional and we're done with that. But anyways, other than that, guys, take care and peace out.